Astro, no. What you know about rolling down in the deep? When your brain goes numb, you can call that mental freeze. When these people talk too much, put that shit in slow motion. Yeah, I feel like an astronaut in the ocean.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Steroids Are Good. Prashanta and Dex joining you again. We apologize for the bit of a delay that we had. Life stuff got in the way, and then we had actually started recording an episode earlier in the week, but technical issues, my laptop crashed, so you can blame me for that. But yeah, now
Yeah,
we're hoping that this one can get to you back on time. So, how have you been doing, Dex?
yes.
How's the past few weeks been for you?
It's been pretty good, just watching sports, watching fighting. I literally have been superstitious this last couple of weeks, well, the last week or so. Obviously, I want the Bucks to win. Giannis is my player right now. So it seems like when I talk a lot of mess to people as of late, when it comes down to like basketball games, my team
Yeah,
loses. So I just decided to just completely stop talking to like anybody that is on the opposing team that wants the opposing team. I won't talk trash. I won't do anything, and we're on a three-game winning streak. So I'm just gonna still
yeah,
be like
yeah,
that
for
with
sure.
anybody else.
For sure.
Yeah,
I think that's always the best approach to just be like, uh, you know, allow things to happen rather than just talk about it beforehand. I think is the best thing to do when it comes to that.
exactly,
But,
exactly.
but yeah, so did you get a chance to watch Space Jam 2 yet?
Oh yeah, I did. I thought it was, I guess being a, you know, 80s baby, and knowing seeing the original Space Jam, it's just not the same. It's not the same as I thought it was going to. I mean, I like the twist that they did with it. I really like Don Cheadle in it. I think he was the best person, the best actor in there. Surprisingly, I didn't like LeBron James acting in that one. It's crazy because usually, like when LeBron's in movies, I like him in movies. Uh, and so it's really crazy. I didn't really like him too much in this one. I don't know. I like Damian Lillard's character Kronos. That one little Dame Time thing when he was clicking on this little thing Dame Time. That was cool. But anything else, I could pass on it. What did you think
I
about it?
haven't watched it. I don't think I'm gonna watch it. It just doesn't seem like it's for me. It seems like it's probably just like a kids movie, and I don't know. I stopped liking the original Space Jam when I was like 14 or something. I liked it when I was 12, but when I was like 14 and ended up watching it again, I was just like, this movie sucks. I just
The original. What's really fucked up? What's really fucked up is that kids is gonna watch this Space Jam, and that's gonna be their Space Jam. They're not going, and they're gonna look back on the
I
original one and
mean,
be like, "Oh, this one
the
sucked."
first one is kind of bad too, to be honest. So I think they're
It's not as
keeping
bad
up
as
with the
this one, bro. You
tradition.
gotta watch this one. You gotta watch this one.
Yeah, yeah, I guess so. But yeah, I actually did watch a horror movie on HBO Max last night that I want to recommend to people before we start talking about sports and stuff like
What
that. It's called The Empty
what is
Man,
it?
right? So I think you have HBO Max,
Okay.
right, Dex? I'm sure that's where you watched Space Jam. So
Yes, I do.
yeah, it's called The Empty Man, and
Hmm.
I think it was literally on the homepage of HBO Max. I'd heard about it like a few months ago, but it
Yeah.
wasn't streaming anywhere, so I didn't want to pay up to rent it. So, I was just kind of waiting until it hit streaming. So yeah, it ended up being on HBO Max. It was on the pretty much like the front of the service, pretty much like as like a new thing, like newly added or something like that. Really creepy, really
Yeah.
atmospheric. Really, I thought it was a really interesting and good movie. So yeah, if you watch it, let me know what you think. You guys can let us know in the comments,
Okay.
and Dex, you can let me know when we record next time as well, I guess.
I definitely will let you. I definitely let you know. Oh, if you want to recommend something, have you watched American Horror Stories
No,
on
no.
FX?
I
It
stopped watching the
premiered.
main show after like the second season, I think. So I haven't cat watched it
Yeah,
in a while. I haven't watched that show in a while.
I watched it. It was
It
okay.
was okay.
It was okay. I thought it was okay. Yeah, because I guess the new season of American Horror Stories was to be starting up
Yeah.
sometime soon, and I seen American Horror Stories. It had a lot of like second generation, third generation stars on there. I think it had Cindy Crawford's daughter up in there, and it had Paris Jackson in
Mm.
there. Like a lot of like second and third generation stars in there. So it was all right. Like the first episode is the Rubber Man, and the Rubber Woman
Mhm.
is like the second part of it. It's a two-part series premiere.
Yeah.
So it was okay. I thought it was cool. I was like American Horror Story though. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. So that sounds interesting. So getting back to what we're here to talk about, I guess. We wanted to
Sports.
cover the Euro Cup. We wanted to cover the earlier finals games, but unfortunately, with everything that happened, we were not able to do that. So Luckily, though, we did have a kind of a classic game last night that was really close. Ended up being back and forth, a lot of runs,
Good game.
and ultimately the Bucks won. So, Dex, for you, as in terms of like players in the game, who was the biggest winner and the biggest loser of the game for you last night?
Yeah, the biggest winner is Drew Holiday.
Yeah, agreed.
We talked, like I said, we talked about this in past podcasts. He was a big pickup, big difference from Eric Bledsoe. He's making me not miss Malcolm Brogdon now. Just with his defensive presence, his leadership, his poise,
Yeah.
his timely shooting. He's worth the money. Like if they that was a big play that he did. And so obviously the biggest loser of that game was Devin Booker. He was cooking the whole game.
I disagree with you about that.
And got ripped.
I thought it was Chris
ripped.
Paul. I thought Chris Paul was the biggest loser of that game, and I think he's been the biggest loser of these finals so far. I mean, the Suns have wasted back-to-back 40-point games and close games, 40-point games that Devin Booker has had in close games. And, Book was getting it done all night. Book was, scoring. He was basically getting to wherever he wanted all night. And ultimately, he did have a turnover on that last play, which the winner of that game, Drew Holiday, was responsible for. But I honestly don't think it's fair to blame a guy who had 40-something points for making one mistake at the end of the game. I think it's more on his teammates, especially CP3, who, before the series, he was the favorite to be the MVP. In the last couple of games, like the last 2 or 3 games, he's really kind of disappeared. Devin Booker has had to carry this team on his shoulders in terms of, like, the scoring load and everything. So, I think CP is kind of the loser of this game. And, unless the Suns come back to win this, he might be considered the loser of the series overall. That's coming from someone who's his favorite player, so that this is, hard for me to say or whatever, but
It's
that's
serious.
what I think, yeah.
I think you're feeling a little bit of that Dexter swag right now. You're being too hard on him right now. No, you're being too hard on
because
CP3.
I think that Book has been getting it done. Book has been scoring like 40 points back to back. There isn't much more that you can do than that. Like, when you score all that much, when you have the ball in your hands that much, there's going to be like mistakes sometimes and stuff like that, right? That's obvious. But I just think that CP
you
just,
could not get the ball.
I don't know,
ripped
his
at the
game
end of
just
the
seems
game.
off to me. Maybe it's the injury, but Giannis was injured before this series too, so it's not like, I don't think it's fair to say injuries or something like that. So yeah, I think CP is the guy that I think has really got to step it up over the rest of the series if they want to win. I think for me that's what I think. Yeah.
I just think you're hating on CP3. You gotta leave my friend alone. CP3 doing what he has to do. I just thought what I thought when he came into this series. I literally thought Drew Holiday was a bigger guard. He's good at defending smaller guards.
Yeah.
And Booz finally decided to make an adjustment. You know what I'm saying? And it really irks me that if they do win, Booz get this championship, and he's literally like one of the dumbest coaches in like the NBA. I really don't like.
I disagree with that.
at all.
He's not one of the dumbest coaches in the NBA.
God.
He's had a few playoff
He's pretty dumb.
mistakes and stuff like that have really haunted him, but he's someone who you don't consistently win that many games as he has. He's won games in the regular season consistently. His teams have been great in the finals, but hey, now they're one game away from winning the finals now. So I don't think it's fair to call him one of the dumbest coaches in the NBA. So
The
just saying.
dumbest coaches in the NBA. I don't like them. I feel like they could have been won a championship.
I mean, he's about to lead them.
they
He's
could have
about
won
to
a
take
champ-
them to the championship now. I mean, he made some of those necessary adjustments that we were talking about before. I mean, Giannis.
Prashanta, you
Giannis
could have
is
made those
playing,
adjustments,
like, nearly
bro.
40 minutes a game over these close games. Chris Middleton is playing over 40 minutes a game. He's made that adjustment. I think he's starting to make those adjustments a little bit that I think are really important to do the thing. I don't just want us to fall into this NBA Twitter meme or whatever thing of being like, oh, this guy doesn't make adjustments and just making the same joke over and over again, right? You can't win a championship if you have a bad or dumb coach, is what I think. That ultimately a bad or dumb coach is going to get in the way. A coach at the very least has to not hurt you to win a championship, is what I think.
With that squad, with Giannis, Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton, and the role players that they have over there, you have to. I mean, I could have coached the Milwaukee Bucks to the finals right now. Yes, I could have. The adjustments were so easy. Guard the high pick and roll, put Drew Holiday on Chris Paul, take away Chris Paul, and make him actually work. It's not really all that hard. He's older. You make him fight, and chase you around too. He's an older dude. I mean, it's not really all that hard. He put Giannis at the 5 so that he could guard DeAndre Ayton. He's more athletic.
And stuff like that. When they were doing well, he was putting Giannis at like the 3. He had Bobby Portis and Brooke Lopez in there too. So
Positionless.
it's not
This-
that he was
this
putting
is
Giannis at the
positionless.
five, so
Giannis plays the
I
five.
think just by that we can
Giannis
see
is
that
at
you
the
would
five.
not be coaching.
He was
these
a
Bucks
point
to the NBA
center.
finals.
He was a point center. Giannis is a point center.
You would
Oh
not
my
be coaching
God.
these Bucks to the
You,
finals.
you,
Get out of
why are
here.
you sticking up for Booz? You know he's stupid as fuck.
He's not. He's not.
You know he is.
He's
Yes,
not. I
oh my
disagree
God.
with that.
Okay.
I don't think you can be stupid and have your team within one game of winning the NBA Finals. It doesn't matter.
If you have
it
no
doesn't
talent.
matter, right? Like you can't win. You can't be that close to winning a championship by being a stupid or bad coach. You can. I think at the very worst, a coach who gets his team to that level isn't hurting them. Is my point, pretty much.
Okay, let me not be a Stephen A and say somebody's stupid or something like that. Let me just say I don't think Budenholzer is the coach for the Milwaukee Bucks in the future. I feel like they could have a better
if they
coach
win
with better
if they win a championship,
strategy.
then he is going to be the coach. If you win a
It will be their
if you
only
win a
championship.
then
If he
you're
stays,
the
that'll
coach
be
of
their
the
only
future.
championship. No,
Yes.
pass. That's a hard pass.
I mean, you want them to win.
Sorry,
Your
Pat, they
prediction
better
is
not
that
do
they're going
that.
to win. They're not going to win the championship and then fire
in
him.
six,
So
they
they're
better.
not. They're not going to. So whatever. Man.
They
I
better.
Guess,
I mean,
something
I seen
that
the Bulls
wanted
do
to
it.
ask you was, people have
Yeah,
been
go ahead.
making these weird scenarios. Like C.J. McCollum was having this weird scenario about what if Giannis goes out with COVID and fantasizing about Giannis being out with COVID and then Chris Middleton becoming the Finals MVP or something like that. So, what do you think is kind of driving this thing of Giannis not getting like respect from other players as much? What do you think is like the force behind that?
It's because he's not closing. It's because the ball's not in his hands, like how, the natural closer
Yeah, but I
would
mean,
be.
I feel like someone like Chris Paul isn't like the closer for the Suns either. Booker is the closer for the Suns.
He
and,
what?
People
Chris-
still
Chris Paul
people
closed a
still
lot of
respect
games.
Chris
He closed
Paul
game
a lot
6.
more than him. People still respect like other guys a lot more. It's for whatever reason Giannis doesn't get the same level.
And Giannis ain't friends with nobody. And you know Giannis isn't friends with nobody either. He takes that Kobe mentality for real. He doesn't play with people during the summertime. He doesn't go on vacations with other players or other
Yeah.
teams. And so naturally, of course, that he's just like public enemy number one. I told you if he gets over 70%, then I could start putting him back in that upper echelon, upper tier of greatest of all time. If he started doing it, he started making his free throws.
I mean,
he's doing better.
he doesn't have to.
I mean,
he's shooting I think he's shooting something like 60% from the free throws, not 70%. It's like 50 or 60%, somewhere in that range. And they're leading
I say
the
he's
series.
moving up
He's
there.
leading that team in point. I
Moving
think he
up
leads
there.
them in points, rebounds, and assists. He's
Rebounds.
really close, if not like leading them in assists. So yeah, man, back-to-back 40-point games. He led the team in scoring again last night and had that clutch dunk and
32.
everything. So finishing through contact and everything like that. So I don't know, man. It just seems like
Does he get
it
okay?
just
So my
seems like
question:
it
Does
doesn't
he get
matter.
past Brooklyn
like
next year?
I don't think. Yeah, I think that for whatever reason, like people focus on Giannis not being a good shooter in the way that they don't focus on other like superstars' holes in their games. Like I don't know why that one hole in Giannis's game is so focused on as if he can't do anything, because of that one hole. Like he can do pretty much everything.
Hey, the
besides
post
that.
turner. His post turnaround fade has got real pretty lately.
Yeah, but that's not a jumper though. And
Over that
people
elbow.
focus on his lack of a jumper as if like
He
there's
doesn't need a
never
jumper,
been a
though.
perfect player in NBA history. There's never been like a perfect player who can do literally
There has
everything
been.
in NBA history. So that just doesn't.
There has been.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense.
His name was Bill Russell. You know what? I was going to ask you about
Bill
that.
Russell couldn't shoot or pass. He was like a defensive-minded big man. He couldn't shoot or pass. He wasn't
he was a
able to
perfect
do
player
every
to me.
single little thing.
Hey, but listen, I have a question
Yeah,
for
what's
you.
up?
Okay, so there's the block for Giannis when he's defending Devin off that screen, and once that block dehydrated from the alley,
Yeah.
amazing
Yeah.
play, right? People are like trying to debate between him and LeBron James chase down block. Now, where I know where you are, you like the OG players too. Now they're saying those are 1 and 2 of the best like finals blocks of all time, but they're totally dismissing Bill Russell's block in like 1955. Where he came over 2 screens. And do you remember that play, or have you ever
I've
seen
never
that play
seen
before?
that play, man. I'm not as old as you. I wasn't born
Oh.
in 1947 like you were, so I
What the
can't.
fu-
I don't know that. You talking
No,
you're
I'm
talking
just
about
saying,
a play
like,
from
they're just
1955 when
forgetting.
there were like 18.
Saying.
You're talking about an era of the league where like literally they had like open racial slurs as like one of the names of their teams probably at that time. They were called like there was like the St. Louis Mix or something like that was one of the teams that it was
probably
called.
was.
And you're like, yeah, in 1955 that wasn't no man. I think in
I
the
mean, if
recent,
you've
I think
seen
in the
Bill
over
Russell's
the past
defense.
10 years probably those are the best blocks, but I honestly haven't seen like enough individual blocks or plays like that from games. I don't remember games like before the last like individual like plays from before like the last like 10 or
Where
12
do you rank them then? Which one is one and which one is
I
two?
think they're both really good. I don't know that I could rank them. I think in terms of like the athletic feat, I think that LeBron's is more impressive in terms of like having to chase him down and like block him from behind and all that stuff. I think that's a little more impressive athletically, but in terms of like the awareness and the reaction to the thing and like the defensive like awareness and stuff like that, Giannis is more impressive. So, there's different elements to it, but I think both are really impressive.
I kind of have to disagree with you about that. Not because I'm hating. You guys do not call me a hater.
He is a,
This I
he is
actually
a
have
hater,
to-
by the way, but
Look,
you don't
facts.
have to call him one,
Look,
but
facts,
you can
you
know
guys.
in your hearts that he's a hater, even if you don't call him.
You guys look, facts, right? So Iggy was like 100 years old. He double clutched, right? LeBron, and then Iggy was like what? Iggy's like 6'6", 6'7", and going off a backboard. LeBron chases it back, but Iggy's wasn't blowing past. This isn't young Iggy back in Denver or Philly, right? And he had a double clutch because J.R. Smith was right there, whatever.
I don't mean in
but
terms
you
of
gotta
jumping.
think-
I don't mean the athleticism in terms of jumping. I mean like recovering and recovering all that way and basically running up the court.
What
to do
was
that.
Giannis doing?
That's
blocking Devin Booker from that lane and coming off 1 foot to go up and block a 7-1
yeah.
DeAndre
But what I'm
Ayton
saying is
in
that like
midair.
that was relatively in the same area. I don't know why you're making me do this stupid bullshit debate thing. They're both really good. I already said that I don't want to rank them one or two. So
We all know what he thinks was one is, you guys.
No,
I was trying to bait him
there
that
is
time.
there is a one there clearly for me. So I don't know. You're not gonna bait me into taking a firm position on it. And I don't know.
Yeah. Talking about baiting, one thing. How did you think about the Euro finals? Like, what did you think? And what did you think about the racism that came afterward with, I guess, the black players in England?
Yeah, I thought it was terrible. I don't know if it was on purpose or not that the coach kept them out for the whole game and then put them in kind of towards the very, very end of it. They
Yeah.
just kind of ended up eating the blame for the rest of the players and stuff like that. They didn't deserve it. They deserve to, the other players missed penalties and stuff like that in Italy and everything. So, that's just kind of what the cause of the game is, the flow of the game is, and the racism sucks. They shouldn't have been attacked like in terms of like that racist way and stuff like that. So yeah, deflated balls to the England fans for doing that, I guess.
Yeah, and to the England coach, bro.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
okay, you score the fastest goal in Euro like finals history, like with 2 minutes in, and then you played not to lose. It's like, why were you on the defense? I mean, I watched the game, like, like faithfully the whole game.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like they were playing not to lose. They was on the defense the whole time. It was like, you guys can score more, and then that was really jacked up. And then you put a 19-year-old kid to do the last
Yeah,
kick.
yeah.
Like, I wouldn't have did that at all.
Doesn't make
Like,
sense.
if he was like some kind of like. It doesn't. The pressure would have got. I mean, a whole like countries on his back, whatever. Like, I would not have like put it on a 19-year-old kid cold like that. And seeing what the goalie did with the others, I would not have did that. Like, just I don't know. And I'm not trying to stick up because there's 19-year-old kids that could probably have made that, whatever.
Yeah.
But definitely the backlash that came with it was just ridiculous.
I mean, they wouldn't have.
No.
They wouldn't be on the national team if they couldn't make their penalties and stuff like that, right? So, I don't know, man. I think that it was just an unfortunate situation. Maybe they weren't warmed up because they didn't play enough during the actual game and stuff like that. I don't know, but yeah, I think that stuff like that happens in sports. Occasionally players will miss, and the types of racist attacks are like, it's not. It's like, what do you call shouldn't be allowed to do that. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. What I have to say there.
I got-
guess.
I have another question
Yeah.
for you too. How do you feel about the coaching hires and not now one single woman being hired as at a head coach position like Becky Hammond or Teresa Weatherspoon for like Philadelphia? Like, how do you feel about like NBA is supposed to be in the most like progressive league and there's still not a woman I mean, there's assistant coaches, but I think Becky Hammond deserves, if not Teresa Weatherspoon, deserves a chance to coach. Like, how do you feel about no women being coaches right now in the NBA?
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird, man. Like, I feel like those teams like putting out there that they interview Becky Hammond and whoever else, but then ultimately not giving them the job. It's almost like the NFL treats black coaches and stuff like that, where, they'll be like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, we interviewed 10 different black coaches, but ultimately, the white coach somehow ended up just being the best candidate for the job. It's good.
Yeah.
I will say the one thing that is good is that a lot of black coaches are getting hired this year, and it's not just to replace other black coaches. They're also replacing white coaches who have been fired. So next year, the number of black coaches is going to rise, I think, quite a bit. I mean, Willie Green is replacing Stan Van Gundy. Chauncey
Hmm.
is replacing who's that guy in Terry Stotts, I think.
Scott
Yeah,
Styles?
Terry
No,
Stotts
so
in
yeah, Terry
Portland.
Stotts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who else? Ime Udoka is replacing.
Wes Unseld,
Yeah,
Usaid, or
Wes
Usaid,
Unseld
whatever is
Jr. So yeah,
replacing.
there's going to be a few more black coaches, which I think is good for the league and all that stuff. Willie Green. I already talked about him, but yeah, I think that it's going to be what do you call it? I think that I think that part of it is good, but yeah, I think that there's a lot of qualified women candidates for head coaching positions, and that ultimately one of them should be getting a job at some time. What do you think, Dex? I honestly think that Becky might be like who Pop is grooming to take over as a successor for the Spurs. So I don't know. Maybe she ends up getting that job once he retires. What do you think, Dex?
Yeah, I think that I don't know. I think that it's about damn time that a woman should be coaching in the
Yeah,
NBA, being a head coach. I can tell you that. Becky Hammond has been assistant coach for a good while now. I feel like she has the knowledge and
hmm
know-how. I feel like she's very, very like. I feel like her intelligence is way higher than Boo's, and so, and then also Teresa
yeah,
Weatherspoon.
yeah,
Like she's a very good assistant coach in Philadelphia. She's well respected. Where every player hands on her word. And so, when you command that attention, with like superstars and like even Ben Simmons, Ben Simmons doesn't listen to nobody
yeah,
half the time. To have that type of attention and to grab that, to have people gravitate to you like that and actually know basketball. I mean, we're talking about Hall of Famers right now. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah,
And it's like, I feel like, don't do it because it's a woman, but do it because they're the best, candidate for the
yeah.
job. And I felt like they were the best candidates for the job in a couple of different organizations, and so that's my thought
Okay.
on that.
So in terms of like, I guess we talked about this a little bit. Talked about the Blazers. You talked about him during the Space Jam review thing that you did. So what do you think about the Dame Lillard rumors that are kind of swirling around, especially over the past few days? So do you think that he does get
It's that
traded?
time.
And if he does, where do you think is the most likely? And what do you think would be the best fit for him?
Um, the most likely will be outside the West Coast. No, Portland doesn't want to
Like a
see
team. I
him
mean, like
in
a
any
team.
type of
It's
like.
going to be. I don't think they're going to trade him in the conference. They're probably not going to try to trade him in the conference. But if
Well, you know where I want him to come to, but that's probably not going to happen with the package. So my theory is he's going to end up being with the
it's
Knicks.
going to be,
He'll end up going to
it's
the
going to be.
Knicks. The Knicks, the New York
Oh, you think it's
Knicks.
going to be the Knicks?
Yeah,
That's
I got the
that's who you think
Knicks
is the most
getting
likely.
him.
That kind of makes sense.
Yeah, they got the most. They got the most money, the most trade assets. I feel like he
I,
works really well with
I don't
that
know,
team.
man. To be honest, I don't know because I read a report that apparently the Knicks aren't willing to include R.J. Barrett in any trade packages and stuff like that. So
Bye, RJ.
if no, I mean I read a report that they're not willing to include him in any trade packages. So
That's a lie.
if that's the case, then I don't think that they're gonna get him. And honestly, as a Knicks fan, I don't really want to trade RJ. I know Dame is really good and stuff like that, but I don't want to trade RJ for at least a year or two. I'd like to at least know like the way he improved like so much from last year to this year. I'd like to get at least another year of him with like a full off season with these Knicks coaches with a full like development time and stuff like that. If he continues on this trajectory, RJ can become an all-star himself, and I really don't want to like trade someone like that. I'd rather keep a young like all-star that we developed in our own thing and stuff like that. So yeah, I don't think that the Knicks are the most likely thing for that. I think that the most likely thing is that he stays in Portland. He's kind of said this a little bit, but I think that he gives it at least another year in Portland, and he sees if this team can like
So who does
improve.
Portland get then? Who does Portland get then to keep him happy for this year? They get Ben Simmons, trade CJ
Yeah,
McCollum.
I think that might be a strong possibility of CJ McCollum. I honestly think that if he does get traded, though, I think that who you just mentioned, the Sixers are probably the strongest candidate for him if he does get traded. I think the Sixers could include like Ben Simmons, who despite his struggles and stuff like that, this guy is an all star. He is an all NBA level defender and stuff like that. He is, I think, someone if you put the ball in his hands and you make him more of like the on ball like role and stuff like that, I think he develops more of a confident type of thing and he's better in those type of situations. So I think Ben and a couple of their young guys like Matisse Tybel and who's the other guy, Quickly's teammate at Kentucky, Tyrese Maxey. Maybe some picks in there. I think that would be like a pretty good package for Dame. So I think that Philly would be the most likely fit, and he's a good fit with Joel Embiid too. Those two would be a good fit together. So that's why I see Philly as the most
know it would be
like
good.
the best
Scoring.
as the most likely possibility if he leaves Portland. But yeah, I just see Portland as being the most realistic situation there. I honestly think that the Knicks are willing to take their star hunting to another year because I think that they want to see how well like guys like quickly develop, how well RJ develops, see if those guys can become like more consistent, and see if Julius takes another step forward too or not. So I honestly think that the Knicks, rather than going hunting for a really big superstar, I mean, if one becomes available, obviously they'll take that chance, but I don't think that they're going to be willing to like splurge necessarily on a superstar until probably a year or two out, is what I personally think. I could be entirely.
Hey,
I
New
could
York.
be entirely
Oh,
wrong.
New
Maybe
York.
like next week, once the finals are over. Maybe next week, once the finals are over, they'll trade everything for RJ, and then we'll have Julius and Dame in New York, and they'll be out in the second round instead of the first round. I don't know.
This is why I have a conspiracy
Yeah, what's
going
up?
on. We need not we. Yeah, I'm a Die Easy fan, and I love the Knicks this year. And I was a Knicks
Yeah.
fan, so the Knicks stand together right now. We need Damian Lillard, so we could bring my boy Zion to come to New York. Because Zion had made mention in his press conference.
That's not going to happen for at least another like 2 years, and even that would be like they would have to give a ton of assets to get Zion even at that time, and they would have to give up a ton of assets to get Dame at this time. That's my main concern with this team,
I'm okay
is
with
that
that.
like if you give up a ton of assets to get Dame at this time, then you're kind of like really limiting what you have to trade for other players to what you can get for other players, what you can trade for other players, and you're basically capping this team. I think that this team gets better, but I don't think like a Julius Randle, Damian Lillard team is getting to past even like the second round or maybe the conference finals or something like that, right?
They're whooping Trae Young's ass. If Damian was on that team, they would have whooped
I mean,
his
yeah,
ass.
but we don't know that. They weren't able to.
I know
they weren't
that.
able to guard Dame. That was not guard Dame, guard Trae Young, and Dame can't guard anyone. I feel like Trae Young goes up.
They had an old Derrick Rose playing like 36 minutes and whooping them.
Yeah, but like again, they can't guard. But like, so how much more does Dame whoop them necessarily than than Derrick Rose has?
What,
Maybe
Damian?
Dame puts up like 30. Maybe Dame puts up 30 a game instead of 18 a game
He's
or
out
whatever
of his
that D Rose is averaging, and maybe they win a game. Maybe they even get to the next round. Does that team beat Milwaukee in the next round? I don't think so. I don't think they're beating the Bucks in round 2, right?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. But they would have been. There would be no ice trade.
Yeah.
Would have been this.
Yeah.
I tell you that in
They
New
wouldn't
York.
have beaten, yeah, and that's nice, but like and that's nice that we would have him, but we wouldn't be winning. I want to win. I want to build a sustainable winning type of team. I don't want us to do the Melo move all over again, where we trade everything for Melo, and then it's 2 years of like playoff basketball, and then every other year we miss the playoffs or we're bad in some way, and then we're constantly trying to chase these mistakes over and over again. I don't want that to happen.
So I wish I could make this breaking news.
This is the first
and
time
like edit
since
this.
like literally since the Melo trade that the Knicks have like a surplus of young assets and players and stuff like that, and that doesn't need to change yet. I don't think that needs to change yet. Is my entire point. The team is not at a place where they need to go all in on a superstar yet, because they're not ready for that, to make that like huge leap yet. I think if they had gotten to the second round this year, if they had beaten the Hawks, I would have been more with you. I would have been like, okay, they got to the second round. At least now they can, trade some stuff for a superstar,
Yeah.
and then maybe that we could have something going. I think if you add Dame, right now you said salary cap, and they do have salary cap, but if you add Dame, they can't add another max level free agent because he isn't a guy that they signed themselves. They would need to re-sign
Okay.
Julius next year, which would really make it difficult for them. And
It would.
they would have to trade
they're not
away
gonna
pretty
sign
much
him.
every one of their young pieces and draft picks and stuff like that to get Dame already. So if
They're
they're
going-
doing that,
they're
then
not
you're
gonna sign
basically
Julius.
locked into a team with Julius Randle and Dame Lillard. And that can be a fun team. That can be a pretty solid, decent team, but I don't see them as being like a consistent, contending championship level team. And that's what I want, to be honest. So
Okay, but this is the thing. I'm gonna tell you the best because I'm looking at the breaking news or whatever. Apparently, and I didn't want to bring it up because everybody know I'm a homer, but if Portland does trade C.J. McCollum for Ben Simmons and they're looking to kind of
Yeah,
rebuild, the best package that could come to them is from the Warriors. And
Yeah,
so,
I mean that makes. I honestly think that it makes a lot more sense for the Warriors to go all in. They could trade like Wiseman, Wiggins, and their two first round picks next year, and maybe like one or two first round picks in the future or something like that. That's a package that
exactly.
makes that's a package that makes most sense for a lot of sense for both teams because they're getting the Blazers are getting a bunch of young players and picks for their rebuild, and the Warriors are going all in because they have a team that, if Clay is healthy, they are ready to compete for a championship, right? Which is what Dame
Already
needs.
there, yeah.
Dame can't compete for a championship if the Knicks spend every single asset on him. And I think
Yeah,
that Dame
that's what I'm
I think that Dame would like to play for the Warriors and stuff like that too. He's a really loyal guy to Oakland and all that stuff. He loves Oakland. He wears that 0 on
Yeah.
his jersey for Oakland and all that stuff. Even though
Bay
they're not
Area.
in Oakland anymore, they went they went to San Francisco and all that
They're in the
stuff.
415. They in San Francisco.
Yeah, but they
Across
went
the
to San
bridge.
Francisco and all that. But it's I think that he would like to play for there. I think that he would be into playing for that team. But it depends on whether they think that that's the right move for them, the Warriors. I think that it would be interesting.
Yeah.
I think that it would be a cool thing to see. I think that it would make. I think it makes Draymond's life super super hard on defense. He basically would have to cover like 3 different positions on defense, which makes it very hard for him. But,
Yeah.
especially with Clay coming back from like 2 missed years, 2 really bad injuries, we don't know what his like defensive ability is going to look like for like, probably like at least a year or something too. So, I think that is going to kind of be a factor there. But yeah, it would be interesting. It would be fun, really fun to see Dame in with the Warriors too, for sure.
Yeah, Dame and
And
Steph
people would
have
like
to
be
go
able to
from
hate the
30
Warriors.
You have to go
again,
from
which would be
35.
nice.
It's always hate when you the best. When you the best. That's why Giannis is getting hated on like this.
No,
Like,
I think that what
they
you
hate
said is
Giannis.
like accurate. That he doesn't like, he's not like someone who's all buddy with all other players and stuff like that. That's probably why they don't rate him as highly as people do. And C.J. McCollum has weird fantasies about him getting COVID for some reason.
How do you? I know why the fuck would you want to wish COVID on?
Not even
wish,
wish,
but
but why
like
would
think
you
about
even
COVID
like
on
put that
somebody.
out into the world for some reason?
In the universe? That's
a
weird,
weird
bro.
shit.
Like CJ
Yeah.
McCollum. It is weird. Well, I was gonna say how okay. I know we're going to be closing up soon, but how do you feel about Jason Kidd coming to the Mavericks and what he could do for
I
Luka?
think he doesn't do anything for Luka. I don't like Jason Kidd as a head coach. I think that he's a very mediocre head coach. I think that he's a downgrade from Rick Carlisle, and I think that the Mavs, it just seems to me, they don't really know what they're doing. That's what I think, to be honest.
Does KP stay in Dallas?
I mean, he has no choice but to stay in Dallas. He's one of the worst contracts in the league now. He can't stay healthy. He's bad on
He is the
defense.
worst contract.
He's basically like a 7'3" shooting guard who gets injured all the time, and that's not someone
Yeah.
that any team wants to pay a max for. And he's
Sure.
on a max deal now, so he's pretty much untradeable unless they add like extra assets to him. And because my Knicks have all those first round picks from them, they've got 2 first round picks, one this year and one in 23 from the Mavs for him. They don't have enough picks, I think, to really trade him either. So it's very enjoyable. I'm really enjoying that the downward spiral the Mavs have been on ever since they traded for KP. It's enjoying to me. I like that he's
It's petty
like
as fuck.
kind of become like a sleeper agent or whatever, just destroying that team, and it makes me
Just
smile. It's good.
messing them
It's
all
nice.
up. How'd you feel about the shooting last night in the Pirates game?
The shooting at the
When it was the Pirates.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, it was
What
the
do you want
shooting.
me to even say about that? It's wrong. It's bad. I don't like that there's shootings and mass shootings and stuff. I don't know, man.
Yeah. I want to tell you my MVP. I know I said who's the biggest winner and loser for that game. My MVP for that game though was the man that was counting the cash for the free
No,
throws.
I think
he was
I
counting
think he's
$100
my
bills.
LVP.
That's my
least
MVP.
valuable player. That guy was annoying. I didn't like his
It
face.
didn't work.
I didn't like his actions in the game, and I'm rooting for the Suns, obviously, but it made me root for them slightly less that douchebag was just sitting there counting out cash and during the game. It
Count
made me root for
hundreds.
them a little less.
One,
I'm
two.
glad that at least he got to feel the sting of losing. Even if the Suns lost.
That's my MVP because he helped Milwaukee get that lead. So that's why he's my MVP.
Yeah, I guess.
That's my MVP. That's my quarterback right
Yeah.
there.
Okay. Well,
my
I guess
quarterback.
that's it for us, unless you have anything else, Dex.
Love, laugh, eat, pray, stay happy. You
Wa-
know, we love
Watch
you
The
guys.
Empty Man, which is the opposite of all the things that Dex just said.
Watch The Empty Man. What else was I gonna say? Oh yeah. Like you guys subscribe.
Yeah, like,
We
subscribe.
got
You know, if you have
we need more
questions, comment your questions.
subscriptions.
Oh, Dex, we forgot to actually answer that question that we got from Malcolm.
Oh shit.
Yeah,
let me
let's
get
just
to
do
it
that
real
real quick and then we
Well-
can close it out.
Oh, what was it? He was asking about what LeBron and what position.
Yeah, I think
does he
position,
play?
and then he
Malcolm
had
Malcolm
another
Washington was
question,
asking
too.
about LeBron. Can you bring it up? Because I'm on a different laptop
Okay,
right now.
yeah, let me pull it up here.
Actually, let me bring up another phone. I can bring it up another phone real quick. But I know Malcolm Washington. Thank you for the question. Prashanta, you could take. I can answer the first one.
Yeah.
I think he's legit a small forward. Basically.
Why don't you look for that? Why don't you just talk, I guess, free talk or whatever while I look for
Oh, free talk? Okay.
Yeah.
So, while I look it up, LeBron James is what I'm looking for. So, free talking, let's see. Boozer, Budenholzer's not a good coach. Chris Paul is still the man. Why the fuck was LeBron James in Phoenix with a bottle? He brought his own bottle to a game. Whoever's the tequila guy, he's getting banked now.
yeah, he probably owns a
I don't
piece of
know.
that company or whatever. So
He does. Let's see what else. The dude that's Justin Bieber and Peaches, whatever, did not help Georgia sell more peaches. I'm just gonna let you know that right now.
Yeah.
Let me see. I'm trying to find the freaking.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the
thing.
question
He
right now.
just-
So you can keep telling your lies, I guess, while all this is happening.
Lies. This is the truth. I told everybody.
so
I told everybody. Bucks and
Malcolm's
six.
question was, you guys are great. What position do you consider LeBron James, and who is both your guys' favorite players? So, Chris Paul is my favorite player, and I consider LeBron to be kind of a positionless guy who led the positionless revolution, whatever, in the NBA. He can play pretty much anywhere, so that's pretty much what I think my answer to those questions. What about you, Dex?
Great question, Malcolm Washington. Thank you for putting in that
Yeah.
question. So, my position is for LeBron. I'm more old school. He's a small forward. He fits that frame. As I said, I can't if you put him as a point guard, then he challenges all the point guards of all time. Then we got to change up our top 5, top 10 point guards of all time, right? If LeBron considered a point guard like Magic, so I consider him a small forward, still a wing. He posts up, and my favorite player at this. I don't know if you mean during the finals or does he mean just overall? Because I think I told y'all.
it might be overall, just because he didn't say it
Overall,
right now,
it's Steph Curry.
Overall, it's Steph, right?
It goes Steph Curry. It's Steph Curry. Then it goes Jason Tatum and Zion is 2A and 2B, and then Giannis is 3.
Yeah.
And then I'm really, really starting to like Taco Fall from the Boston Celtics.
Why?
I don't know. I just like saying his name. I just like saying his name, and he's a big dude.
All right, man.
And he's got a good heart. Boban and the Chips commercial. I can
guess.
keep going.
I mean,
Is it the Chips
I
or
don't
is
know.
it the?
I like players who are actually good and can play regular minutes.
And
I'm just different, I guess. I don't know.
My favorite player, and I'm gonna tell you guys, Chris Paul's not Prashanta's favorite player. Prashanta's favorite player is Kristaps Porzingis. I just want to let you guys know that right now.
All right,
He
yeah,
loved it. He's in a love-hate relationship with them right now. That's all it is.
So,
love
that's it for us, you guys. After that disgusting slander from Dexter, I don't have anything else to say. So yeah, we will talk to you next week. Thanks for tuning in, and bye, I guess. Yeah.
Thank you. You guys have a good night.